welcome to this National Careers Week talk with Natasha from Multiply. She'll be talking to you today about her career, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship in space. Over to you, Natasha.
Hi, great, thanks. Great to see you all. So as Rosie said, I'm going to do a little bit of a talk on entrepreneurship and being an entrepreneur in space, and give you a little bit of background on my story, what it means to be an entrepreneur and how to become one, and what an entrepreneur in space looks like. So, and then open up for some questions. So, my name's Natasha. I am the founder and CEO of a company called Multiply. We provide services to lots of different companies in space, automotive, energy, transport, helping them look at their technology and see where else it can be used in the world. What other applications could we use rockets for? Where else can we use artificial intelligence to improve life here on Earth? My journey began quite a few years ago now, and I studied at A-levels very much around sort of biology and English, and then I actually went straight into the workplace. And really my journey is about experience and learning. So I got the opportunity to work in a huge variety of different sort of companies. I worked in a signage company for a while. I worked in very large, big energy companies. I worked in financial services. And I went back to university when I was a bit older and did my master's, which was around digital marketing. The thing which got me all the way through is I had this absolute love and passion for really being able to unleash the potential with people and with the technology. So I got to work with these wonderful people with all this fantastic technology. How could we really make it have more of an impact in the world? And that held me all the way through. So when I was working in insurance, I was looking at digital products. How can we help people get the confidence and security they require? And it was 5 years ago I got the opportunity to work in the advanced engineering sector, and this was in particular with the British land speed record team. We were building a 1,000 mile per hour car which was going to break the current land speed record, and that just opened up my eyes to really pursuing my dream and my love of bringing ideas to life. And I went on to found Multiply, which I've spoken about. Multiply isn't my first company. It is actually my third company. And actually my sixth company I've been involved in at a board level. And I think this sort of leads me into what is an entrepreneur. And I think the first thing to say, it's being able to learn from failure. And it's often really hard when you don't get a good grade or you think you failed or something. It can be used as the best learning you can ever get. So my first company, when I was 21, I set up an online recruitment platform, which at the time was very cutting edge. I didn't even have internet at my home. So at the time, so this is quite a while ago, and it didn't work like I hoped it would. And it really hurt, really hurt. But what I learned from that experience, how to write a business plan, how to talk to customers, how to do marketing, how to build websites, how to engage investors, was enormous. So an entrepreneur is somebody who, first and foremost, is following what they love. It's about following and taking an idea and turning it into something real, like a business. And lots of people will have lots of definitions for what an entrepreneur should be or what sort of characters they are. The reality is it's all different sizes, ages, experiences that make an entrepreneur. One of the key things with entrepreneurship is a broad knowledge base. So you have to have, particularly in the early days of building a business, a good understanding of finance, marketing, operations, sales, technology, all elements of a business. So it's being able to be very adaptable, and underpinning that the complexity and the challenges of building your own business is your passion and your drive to bring your idea to life. That's what keeps you going. So how do you become an entrepreneur? Nowadays, there are lots of degree programs and training courses around entrepreneurship and startups. In industry and associated with education, there's fantastic accelerators or incubators, and these are typically environments attached to a company or attached to a university where you go in for 6 weeks or 6 months and they'll help you build the business. There's a lot of tools and mechanisms. There's an enormous amount of information online as well. Lots of fantastic videos on TED.com, for example. But I think the reality is there is no such thing as you do A, B, and C, and that will equal a result. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So it's about really embracing the different experiences you can get, so you can build that knowledge and build your network of people around you to help you bring your idea to life. And it's been willing to test and learn. As I said earlier, Multiply is not my first business, and I had to test things and I had to learn from them. And that's what, in my view, makes an entrepreneur. Now, interestingly, with Multiply, one of the main industries we work in is space. And if somebody had told me, oh gosh, even 5 years ago, you're going to be an entrepreneur in space, I would have laughed. And even when you talk to people about space, it seems like such a far out industry to work in. How on earth can anyone work in space? The reality is, space is like many emerging industries like robotics or artificial intelligence. It is relatively new in many ways. And what's incredibly exciting is that there are vast opportunities in the industry. It's not just about astronauts. It's not just about rocket engineers. Those are key elements without a doubt, but space goes well beyond that. You need people who can operate the command center. You need guys who can do the environmental management of launch sites. You need insurance personnel to make sure that people are covered and companies are covered on these launches. You need government policymakers to enable this to happen in the first place, to get the right regulations in place. And space isn't just up there where the stars are. Space, what we do in space, the satellites that go up there, it's all about enabling a better way of life on Earth. So when you look at GPS, all your maps, the Google Maps on your phone, those would not be possible without satellites. If you look at various, your weather report, that wouldn't be possible without satellite. If you look at your sky, if you've got sky, for example, you wouldn't be able to watch sky without satellites. It helps in so many different ways, from environmental monitoring to being able to give poorer countries access to internet. And it's becoming more and more such an important capability internationally. So when you look at space, it's not just about putting rockets in space, it's how can we use the data from space to improve the environment? How can we use the global positioning system to help farmers? There's a huge raft of opportunities. So that's a little bit about me and a little bit about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship in space. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm open for any questions that we have, Rosie.
Thank you, Natasha. That was all really interesting. I'd like to know, what could the young people study if they were interested in entrepreneurship and space?
So there's a few areas. If you're looking at just entrepreneurship, I'd recommend getting a good basic understanding of business studies. So that's everything from your finance, your sales, your marketing, what sort of forms a company comes in. Is it a limited? Is it a charitable organization? So a business studies, which you can do at A levels and you can continue into universities, is a good one. As I mentioned, at sort of a university level, there's entrepreneurship and sort of startup orientated programs. But also it's worth probably having a look at your local universities and communities and businesses who will often do sort of startup programs. I believe Barclays Eagle Labs occasionally do it as well, which is a great way to just get a little bit of a taster for it.
Perfect, thank you. And how could they get experience as an entrepreneur?
So I would very actively encourage work experience or placements or internships wherever you can. So reaching out to family, friends, reaching out through your school to find and reaching out into your network to find people who work in an area you're interested in or in products or services that you like or get excited by. And even if it's just 1 week to sit in the office and get the feel, it makes a big difference when you're entering the workplace as well. You're coming in with an understanding of what the environment is. Employers do recognize it. So I would strongly urge everyone to take the chance to do work experience where they can.
And who could help them on their journey?
So I mentioned briefly earlier the importance of building your network. As you grow as an entrepreneur, as you grow in business, one of the key things is your network of people. It's so important to be able to have a good network around you. And that can be a mixture of people. It could be customers, it could be suppliers, it could be partnering companies. But one of the key elements is mentors. And mentors come in different form. It doesn't have to be a formal relationship. I myself have 2, if you like, formal mentors, but I have about five to 6 informal mentors. And these are people who I can trust to be able to share ideas, share problems, get advice. And they come from different walks of life. So getting a real diversity in thinking is really important, because you just on your own will have great ideas, but really it's always more than just one that builds great ideas.
Definitely. And where could people go to find out more about working in space?
So working in space, a good place to start actually is to look at the UK Space Agency website. That most countries, or a lot of the Western countries, have national space agencies. They do an enormous amount of different missions and programs, and can also provide information on skills and where to go. There's a couple of smaller STEM organizations like Space South, for example, that does focus on space, the space industry and what you can expect and what you can look for. But again, I think the good starting point is have a look online, do a search online, give yourself some time to really get a good feel and understand what's out there.
Perfect, thank you. And if anyone's got any further questions, they can email them to askanambassador@canterbury.ac.uk, and we can forward them on to Natasha, and then we can correspond with the replies. So thank you so much for your time today.
Absolute pleasure, thank you.
And hope everyone has a great National Careers Week. Bye.
Really, bye.